Listen carefully and engrave these words into your mind. It is high time to rid yourself of the fables you've been told since childhood. Forget the poems, the sappy romance novels, the syrupy songs, and those beautiful moral promises that do nothing but twist and mask the brutality of reality. You have most likely grown up with this sweet, comforting, and deeply toxic illusion that love is an invincible armor. You've been led to believe that affection is an absolute, selfless force that triumphs over all adversity. Wake up. In the real world, on the chessboard of power games, human ambitions, and daily survival, love is not a shield. It is a formidable trap. Worse still, love makes you weak, predictable, malleable, and blind. Niccolò Machiavelli, that Florentine diplomat with the piercing gaze, saw through this relentless mechanism over 500 years ago. He tore away the veil of romanticism and self-righteousness to reveal a cold truth. Sharp as a blade, love is not a nobility of the soul. It is a simple strategic variable. It is a gaping flaw in your armor, an intimate breach into which your rivals, your competitors, and even those you consider your closest allies will rush if you don't know how to guard against it. If you want to assert yourself, if you refuse to be crushed by someone more cunning than you, and if you intend to play your cards right in this modern jungle, you must stop looking at feelings with your heart. You must adopt the clinical, calculating, and relentless gaze of a true strategist, the illusion of attachment and the theater of appearances. Never be fooled by the human comedy. Look at men as they truly are in the shadows, and not as you would like them to be in the light. Machiavelli warns you without the slightest hesitation. Humans are by nature ungrateful, fickle, liars and deceivers, avoiders of danger, eager for gain. It is a hard truth to swallow, but it is the cornerstone of any victorious strategy. When you are at the top, when you are the sun that warms them, when your success reflects on them and your presence is profitable to them, they are all yours. They flock around you, offer you words dipped in honey, swear fidelity, loyalty, and eternal affection to you. They will fight to be in the front row of your court and will claim to be ready to shed their blood for you, as long as you have absolutely no need for it. It's easy to love the one who distributes favors. It's comfortable to be the friend of the powerful, but watch closely what happens as soon as the wind turns. As soon as the storm rumbles, when your power wavers, or more simply, when their own vital interests are threatened, watch them scatter like ashes. Why such betrayal? Because love, in its political and social definition, is a bond of extreme fragility. It is maintained only by a moral obligation, a sense of debt. Yet, morality, in the human mind, carries very little weight against the instinct for survival, the fear of sinking, or the lure of gain. If you base your authority, the longevity of your relationships, or your professional success on the love or sympathy that others bear you, you are building a fortress on quicksand. You are handing the keys to your own destiny over to weather vanes that will turn at the first contrary breeze. You make yourself dramatically dependent on their goodwill. And remember this well, emotional dependence is the absolute death of your freedom of action, the strategist's choice. The asymmetry of control and the sword of fear-faced with this chronic and predictable fickleness of human nature. How must you act? The dilemma is as old as the world. Is it better to be loved or feared? In an ideal world, a utopian chimera, you would be both. But reality will always force you to choose. And since it is almost impossible to guarantee both love and fear consistently, make the choice of cunning, make the choice of security. Choose fear without the slightest hesitation and without the slightest remorse. Understand clearly the fundamental difference between the two. Love is a feeling that belongs to those who feel it. It depends on those who love you. You have no magic button to control their mood swings, their whims, or their changing desires. A cunning mind never relies on what it does not master. That would be like handing the rudder of your ship over to the storm. Fear, on the other hand, is a weapon that rests entirely in your hands. It does not depend on their goodwill, nor on their affection. It depends exclusively on the image of strength that you project and on the certainty of the consequences they will suffer in the event of betrayal. Fear is maintained by the constant dread of what they have to lose if they dare to defy you. Unlike affection, which evaporates at the first discomfort, the anxiety of punishment or loss, whether financial, social, or statutory, never disappears. Men do not hesitate for a second to offend or trample on someone they love if it can pay off big, because they know that love forgives. But they will think twice, sweat on their brow, and hands trembling, before crossing swords with someone they deeply fear. Fear commands respect through the rational calculation of risks, the absolute red line, the deadly venom of hate. But beware, strategist. Do not confuse Machiavellian intelligence with stupid, sadistic, or gratuitous brutality. Machiavelli warns you of a peril far greater than the loss of love: hate. If love is useless to you in adversity, hate is the signature of your death warrant. You must command respect through your firmness. You must be dreaded for your capacity to strike back, but you must under no circumstances slip into blind tyranny. Why? Because hate drives men to despair. It pushes them into a corner. A man who fears you will obey you to save his skin and his interests. A man who hates you will be ready to sacrifice his own skin, his own interests, and even his life for the sole satisfaction of seeing you fall with him. Hate fuels rebellion, forges unlikely alliances against you, and arms daggers in the shadows. How do you maintain this goldsmith's balance on a razor's edge? How do you impose respect and fear without ever triggering hate? The rule is simple, mathematical. Keep your hands off what defines their identity, their pride, and their fundamental security. Machiavelli said it with a chilling cynicism that should serve as your compass. Men forget the death of their father more quickly than the loss of their patrimony. Leave them their material possessions. Do not touch their intimate honor. Never humiliate them publicly just to inflate your ego. If you punish, do it quickly, in a justified and definitive manner, then turn the page. If you respect their basic integrity, they will bow their heads out of prudence, telling themselves that rebellion costs too much, and you will be safe from stubborn grudges. The art of manipulation, turning the weapon against them, it is precisely here that your game must elevate and leave the stage of simple defense to reach the level of political art. Since love is a blinding weakness for the one who naively surrenders to it, realize that it becomes, by definition, a weapon of mass destruction for the one who knows how to manipulate it. Why would you deprive yourself of such leverage over others? Never be the one who loves unconditionally, irrationally, and naively. That role is reserved for victims. Instead, be the architect of desire. Be the one who makes himself loved when it serves the advancement of his pawns. Encourage others to become attached to you. Deploy treasures of listening. Offer them the perfect illusion of your generosity and your empathy. Be particularly attentive when it costs you nothing financially or materially, but yields them immense emotional validation. People are starved for attention and recognition. Feed them. Distribute your favors in a highly calculated manner. If you give all the time, they will become spoiled and ungrateful children. If you give rarely, but at the opportune moment, you will become their benefactor, their savior. The ultimate art of cunning, the pinnacle of social intelligence, is to arouse deep affection in the other to lull them, secure their loyalty, and disarm them. While they intoxicate themselves with the attention you give them, you must keep your own mind made of ice, lucid, analytical, and always focused on your goals. In your skilled hands. Love is no longer this confusing fog that makes you lose your bearings and justifies bad choices. It becomes, on the contrary, the extremely delicate, almost invisible silk net in which you capture the fierce loyalty of those who prefer to be guided by the beating of their hearts, rather than the coldness of their reason. By becoming the absolute master of what they feel for you, you secretly install yourself at the controls of their future actions. The inner shield. The impermeability of the leader, however. There is a formidable trap in this approach, an abyss into which many have fallen, ending up believing your own legend. By dint of manipulating the feelings of others, of receiving their adoration or their praises, the danger is to soften up, to become attached yourself. You must forge an impenetrable inner shield. You must accept the loneliness inherent in this lucidity. The price to pay for mastering your environment is understanding that the smiles directed at you are transactions, that compliments are often currencies of exchange. This should not make you bitter, depressed, or paranoid, but simply impart a relentless serenity. You smile back, you play the social comedy brilliantly, but deep down in the sanctuary of your mind, you remain the vigilant guardian of your own interests. You are never surprised by betrayal because you have already envisioned it as a statistical probability from the very first day of your meeting. Become the master of the game ultimately. This dive into Machiavellian thought is a vital electroshock, a resounding call for absolute clairvoyance. Immediately stop seeing your professional environment, your relationships, and your negotiations through the prism of the naivety you have been carefully indoctrinated with to keep you docile. Love is neither sacred, nor magical, nor pure. It is a formidable tool, a fearsome gear in the vast and complex machine of human influence. If you surrender to it without thinking, if you let your emotions dictate your conduct and your alliances, you will inevitably be devoured by those who have understood the rules. But if you patiently dismantle these mechanisms, if you observe human nature with the enlightened cynicism of a scientist, you will dominate the game head and shoulders above the rest. Learn to read the source code hidden behind the big facade smiles and the wise, theatrical oaths of allegiance. Always keep, under all circumstances, one step ahead of your interlocutors. Search relentlessly, like a detective, for the secret motive, the petty personal interest lurking in the shadow of great declarations of affection. In the great and ruthless theater of life, whether it's your conquest of the business world or the management of your social circle, feelings are the invisible strings of the scenery. The question now before you is cruel but liberating. It is up to you to make your choice. Right here and now, do you want to continue being the complacent puppet dancing with tears in your eyes, without ever understanding who is playing the melody? Or are you ready to become the one who, calmly positioned in the shadows of the stage, firmly pulls the strings?